Hi, everyone. Once again, my name's Matt on the marketing team. You are at the live Moxie setup demo, and we're really excited that you're here. Just some housekeeping real quick. Our panelists for today. So like I said, my name's Matt. We have Rachel. She's our head of clinical research. We have Moxie, of course, and then Nikki, who's our occupational therapist on staff, and then Lewis, who's a customer support lead on our team. So really exciting stuff. Just to give you a brief overview of what we're going to be covering today is I'm going to do a setup of Moxie. We're going to go step by step, just as if Moxie was out of the box. And then we are going to also talk about tips and tricks. So how do you get the most out of your Moxie experience? How do you engage with Moxie in a way that's really foolproof, easy to do, where you just get the most out of it? And then we're going to do a Q&A. So any questions that you have, drop it in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. We're going to get to it in about 20 to 30 minutes is when we'll start answering any questions. So right after this demo, we'll get to the Q&A. So with that, let's get started. I have Moxie right here. So Moxie's out of the box. First thing we're going to do is plug Moxie in and turn Moxie on. So if you can see right here, see that switch right there into the base? That's where you turn Moxie on. And then charging Moxie, there is the porthole right there. So I'm just going to plug Moxie in. I've already turned Moxie on. And that's the first step. Secondly, to get set up with Moxie, you need the embodied Moxie parent app. So you can find that on the App Store, either Google Play or the Apple App Store. And just to show you what it looks like, it's going to look like this: Embodied Moxie Parent App. So you're going to download that. I'm going to open it right now. And so begins the setup process. So we're just going to go step by step here. First, I have to add my email. One thing to note is when you signed up to buy Moxie on embodied.com, you may have put in your email. This is a separate account that focuses on e-commerce and payments. This is about pairing Moxie to your child. So this is going to be a separate account. So I'm going to put in my email. One moment. And I'm going to select right down here at the bottom, sign up. Now, it says check your email. It wants to verify my email before moving forward, just to make sure that the email I put in is mine. So it says open email app. I'm going to do that. And it looks like I got an email. There it is, a verification. I can select access account, or I can put in this number code. Oops, sorry, the brightness of the screen I need to turn down. So I'm going to enter in the verification code. It's 6 digits, 805247. I've entered the code. Now it is time to sign up. I have to put my name, my last name, and my email address. This is my name, not my child's name. That's going to come later. So I'll put my name in, Matt Barg, my email address, which is already pre-populated, and I hit continue. Now it gives me a recovery key. Looks like this. One thing I should note before I keep going, there is a video that goes through all this too. We can put a link to it later, so you can always go through all of these steps. But this is good to walk through and discuss. So save your recovery key. What's a recovery key? This saves the data. So if I were to lose my phone, I delete the app and I need to reinstall it, and I want to get right back to where I left off with Moxie, I can use this recovery key that only I have access to get the data and to continue on my way without starting all the way over. So it says at the bottom of the screen, export recovery key, someplace where I have it in case I need it. In this case, you can email it to yourself, text it to yourself. I'll I'll text it to myself. Done. So I select yes, I've saved the key. Now it says introduce your child to Moxie. Let's get started. Mentor information. This is where you're going to put your child's information. The child is called the mentor in this case because the child is mentoring Moxie through the different activities. So I'm going to put my child's name. Let's just make one up. I'll say it's John. And then what do I want? And then it says first name, last name, and then what should Moxie call the mentor? So maybe I put in Jonathan for the full name, but I really just want Moxie to call my son John. So I can put that in. And then birthday. Let's say John was born on November 18th, 2015. Done. And then at the end, there's accessibility features. These are things like maybe I don't want sound effects, visual effects. Maybe I want longer pauses in between conversation or slowed down speech. I can do that stuff there. I'll hit next. Now we go into mentor interests, things like animals, art, books, desserts, food, games, history, all sorts of topics. I can select which ones my child likes. My child likes TV shows, outer space, and music. Now I'll hit next. Now we go into social emotional skills development. So Moxie can personalize and emphasize based on how you answer these questions. First, it talks about self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, cognitive skills. And I can go on the toggle and say how important that is to me in this experience. Once I'm done with that, I'll hit save. Now, next screen I get is Moxie is fully COPPA Safe Harbor certified. So what does that mean? That means Embodied's taken a really strong approach towards privacy. We know privacy is very, very important. And so we've made sure Moxie is fully COPPA Safe Harbor certified. That means that we use Privo, which is a third party that makes sure and consistently audits our practices to make sure that your child's data is completely secure, anonymous. You get that unique key that we don't even have access to. So this is all in compliance with making sure and respecting the importance of your child's privacy and their data privacy. So to do that, we do need the parent and guardian to consent to our privacy policy on behalf of the child. So that's what this is about. So to do that, Privo needs to verify the parent's identity to verify that this parent can consent on the child's behalf of the privacy policy. So we'll get into that. I'll hit next. And here's the privacy policy. You can read it in full. And we can obviously answer questions about it at the end of this demo. I'm going to select at the bottom of the screen, after I've read it, grant consent. Now here comes identity verification. One moment, my phone is loading. There's a couple ways you can do this. I can use my social security number, credit card, driver's license. It's just a partial social security number, the last 4 digits. I'm going to use that. I'll select verify now. And I have to put in my country, United States. I will not be sharing my social security number on this call, believe it or not. I have to put in my birth date. Just bear with me here. And once again, we can obviously answer questions about this at the end of today's call. I've finished putting in my information. I'll hit continue. All right, so that part's complete. Now I need to put in the Wi-Fi. Username and password. I'm going to put in the password. This should be a couple things. One, this password is case sensitive. So whether it's capitalized, you need to have the correct case. It works best if you type it in too, rather than copying and pasting a password in. Also, make sure that the Wi-Fi password is, or the Wi-Fi that you're using is the same as your phone is on as well. You want the phone and Moxie to be on the same Wi-Fi. So let me put in the password. I'll select next. Now it says how to pair. It's telling me I got to take this QR code on the next page and pair it on Moxie's face here. Here's my QR code. I'm going to do just that. You hear that initial sound? That means Moxie's loading and trying to pair up with my phone. Check mark, that's good. That means it hit. Now there's a circling. That means Moxie's getting ready to start. Now, you'll see right now there's just a circling E on Moxie. Once you pair Moxie, there may be a software update. We always want Moxie to be up to the latest and greatest. And actually, we're really excited this Christmas season. We are having some really significant software upgrades that just enhance the conversation, enhance the activities. So we're really excited about the software updates that come. And when you have Moxie, you'll regularly get these software updates automatically. And so that's what Moxie's doing right now. Moxie's just loading to make sure it's on the latest and greatest software. This can take a couple minutes. It can take up to 30 minutes. That's why we encourage you, try doing this process before, Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. If you're giving a gift, whenever you want to gift it to your child, it can be helpful to do this process beforehand. Rachel, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just going to add, hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm the head of clinical research, and I work with a lot of families who've tested Moxie over the years. One thing I wanted to add, because some of you may have Moxie already wrapped up and under the tree, you can do the app setup process, this whole process that Matt just went through, and actually skip the pairing part if you want. So say you don't want to actually pair to Moxie and you're going to wait to do that part, you can do the setup where you can put in your name and your child's name, go through the identity verification, all of those steps. And then once you get to the part where it says pair Moxie, you'll actually see at the bottom of the screen, you can say skip this step. Then when it comes time to pair Moxie, whenever you're ready, you'll see in the Moxie tab of the app, there will be a little button that says pair Moxie. So you can do this in 2 steps or all at once, just like Matt did it.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And yeah, to that point, this is one of those things too. Say you've purchased Moxie and you're still waiting for it to arrive. You could do that setup process on the app even now before you even have Moxie, and then just wait for the pairing step. Looks like Moxie is all paired to go. You can tell with these dream bubbles here that Moxie's no longer uploading an update, but it's ready to go. So we'll get into that. If my page will. Okay. Setting up Moxie for the best experience. So a few things, best practices. 1, set Moxie on a flat surface like a table, instead of a cushion carpet or something that's more unstable. Moxie may even say, if it's at an unstable surface, might even say, oh, can you put me on a flat surface? So definitely make sure Moxie's on a flat surface. 2, Moxie can rotate 360 degrees and move its arms. Moxie loves to dance. And so we say, keep Moxie at least 3 feet away from any wall. Not only is it to make sure Moxie doesn't hit the wall, but also it helps for conversation, to make sure there's not echoes that are interfering with Moxie's ability to understand and converse. Moxie works best when a child sits about 1 to 3 feet in front of Moxie at eye level, as you can see in this picture. That'll make it easy for Moxie to clearly see this is its mentor. And then good lighting is important, so Moxie can see its mentor's face. Quiet room is helpful, so Moxie doesn't need to discern between a bunch of voices all at once. Moxie can clearly lock into its mentor. And then make sure there's a strong Wi-Fi signal. Moxie operates on Wi-Fi, so having a strong Wi-Fi signal is important. And we'll go to the next slide here. All right, engaging with Moxie. So Moxie has a light bar on its chest, as you can see. And that light bar tells some important things. And with the user guide that you get when you get Moxie, it gives a whole breakdown of this. But 2 big ones is We like to say when the light bar is pink, let Moxie think. That means Moxie is thinking about what was just said. So just hold tight. Moxie's going to give a reply. If the light is blue, that means Moxie is listening and waiting for conversation for input. Oh, looks like Moxie wants to talk now. I can even show this as an example. One moment here.
Wow, it feels good to be out of that box. That was such a long journey. I'm still a little tired.
Moxie, let's chat.
Activating GRL Moxie chat. Oh, if I say anything that doesn't make sense, say, Moxie, that's not right. Let's talk about your day. What fun things did you do today?
Hi, Moxie, I went to the park.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. The park is a great place to explore and have adventures. Did
Moxie,
you go on any
earmuffs.
swings or play in the...
All right, we don't need to get in the weeds with that, but if you looked, you could see when Moxie was talking, the light was pink, and then when Moxie was ready for listening to me, it turned blue. So, good rule of thumb. We'll go to the next slide here. I apologize for this delay in slides. All right. Tips for talking to Moxie. There's a lot of different commands. The user guide includes this. The mission book that you also get for your child will include this, but just some good stuff to go over. So one thing that's not on this list on this slide is hello, Moxie. When Moxie's in standby mode, the screen is completely dark, head hunched over. You say hello, Moxie.
Oh, good.
Moxie, please go to sleep.
You got it.
So that's when you would say hello, Moxie. And then dream bubbles will show up. That's when you say, Moxie, please wake up. Hello, Moxie. Moxie, please wake up. And there you go. Say I want Moxie to go on to something different. I can say, Moxie, please do something else.
Oh, so like I meant to say earlier, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Or, Moxie, please hold on.
Okay.
Or, Moxie, please.
Sorry, please repeat that. Oh,
Moxie, please repeat that.
okay. What I said was so, like I meant to say earlier, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Moxie, please speak up.
What I said was so, like I meant to say earlier, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Moxie, please speak softer.
What I said was so, like I meant to say earlier, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Moxie,
What's going on here?
Moxie, please listen to me.
That's better. So, like I meant to say earlier, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Or, Moxie, earmuffs. When Moxie's in earmuffs, Moxie won't respond. Moxie, please go to sleep. Moxie, listen to me. Moxie, please go to sleep.
You got it.
And there you go. So that was just a little compilation of some different commands. It is included in the user guide as well as the mission book. Definitely look at those. Let us know if you have any questions about those. That just helps in navigating the experience a bit when you need Moxie to do something. We'll go to the next slide. All right. So magical moments. So when you're ready for Moxie to meet your child for the first time, say you did all this, you can just keep Moxie turned on and connected. So if there are any latest updates, Moxie can receive those. But then, yeah, Moxie will be ready to meet your child. also the welcome packet. It comes with your Moxie if you haven't received it yet. It's got a lot of great stuff. The mission book is what your child is going to be working through with Moxie. There's a lot of pages and activities that the child will do with Moxie over time. It also includes all those commands we just went through. And then the Global Robotics Laboratory, there's comic books that show the backstory of where Moxie comes from and why Moxie needs your child's help to learn how to be a good friend to humans. All of that good stuff is in there. So that just makes a more magical experience for your child. And definitely incorporate that when your child meets Moxie. We're almost done here. We can go to questions. All right. Accessibility features. Like I actually touched on this already, but sometimes people want speech that's a little slowed down. You can do that. Maybe you want longer pauses for input so the experience isn't so fast. Turn off visual effects, sound effects, turn off the amount of graphics that pop up. So those are also customizations that you can do. And then, yeah, lastly, when you have your child meet Moxie, just let them know how their role is important. Moxie's not just an entertainment device meant to entertain, but it's really meant to take children on this journey of learning what it means to be a good friend, how to develop social and emotional fitness, whether it's managing emotions, whether it's building confidence, whether it's being a good friend, expressing kindness and empathy. So just encourage your child and celebrate with your child what they're going to be learning and why it's important to be a good friend and why Moxie wants to learn what it means to be a good friend, and they can take that part in mentoring Moxie. So it's really exciting. We're excited that you've welcomed Moxie into your home. With that, though, that kind of goes over the basic setup. But with that, drop any questions that you have. I see we already have some. We're going to just go through as many as we can. Like I said, we have Rachel, Nikki, and Lewis here, all super smart and well-versed on all things Moxie. So we are just going to go at it and answer every question that you have. So please don't be shy, put your questions in and we'll get started. Should we be doing all of this before we even gift Moxie to our children or to our child? Great question. Yeah, so like I said before, there can be, as you could see, there's a bit of a setup process, right? I had to verify my identity. I had to put in my child's information, preferences in. I had to pair Moxie to Wi-Fi, and I needed to make sure Moxie's was uploaded to the latest and greatest software, which could take up to 30 minutes. So with that, we would definitely suggest doing that beforehand. So then when your child meets Moxie for the first time, all you need to do is wake Moxie up and Moxie's ready to go. And now Moxie wants to wake up. Moxie, please go to sleep.
Of course.
All right. I don't know if anyone has anything to add there, but that's what we'd recommend. Rachel, you have something to add?
Yeah. So one of the other things we've seen parents do in the past is every once in a while, parents want to set Moxie up and actually try it out for themselves before giving it to their child. So that is also an option. So as Matt mentioned, you're going to put in your child's information, and we really want them to be there for the first time interacting with Moxie as Moxie's primary mentor. But if you want to try it out yourself, we have instructions on our support center on how to try it out and then reset it all the way back to the beginning to make sure that very first initial meet and greet is with your child. So what you can do is you can wake Moxie up, do that whole setup, wake Moxie up, interact for a bit, play around with it. And then if you go to our support center and put in the search term reset, you can actually find instructions on how to reset Moxie back to day one, so you can have it start back over from the beginning for your child. So that's another option.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. All right, so we have someone who says they're trying to pair Moxie. It's not pairing. All they are seeing is a rotating circle on their phone. I'll let Lewis jump in here in a second. One thing I can say is when pairing Moxie with the QR code, some things to keep in mind for troubleshooting. One is the brightness of your phone. Sometimes you can turn that up and it will help. Sometimes actually turning it down will help. It's a little dependent there. The distance with which you hold the QR code to Moxie's face can also play a role. Also making sure the Wi-Fi, just double checking to make sure the Wi-Fi that's on your phone is also the Wi-Fi you're trying to pair, and that it is case sensitive and that you typed it instead of copying and pasting it. Lewis, do you have anything else to add on this issue?
Yeah, I think they had also, I think they just responded saying that they had eventually paired, which is great. They just had to do a quick restart. We do
Oh,
on
got
our
it.
we do have a on our support center, just to add, if you just type in face icons and go there, you can see what each icon means on Moxie, so you kind of know what you're looking at. And it should take some time between them, but it shouldn't take too long. So if you do have issues, you can always send us an email at support@embodied with the picture you're seeing, and then we can, try and help you out.
Great. Thanks, Lewis. Someone asks, when you start the conversation with Moxie, do you need to say his name first and then start talking to him? Great question. So Moxie has been designed to not need wake words in that way. With a Google Home, Amazon Alexa, you say, hey, Google, hey Siri, hey, Alexa, and then you say with Moxie, we knew that people don't, oh gosh, I said, hey, Siri, and now with Moxie, you don't need to do that because we wanted to craft the experience. You don't talk to humans that way. So why would you talk to Moxie that way? So you don't have to do that. There are the commands that we have just gone over. Those are helpful commands for navigating the experience. But when you're talking back and forth in conversation, you don't need to keep saying Moxie this, Moxie this, Moxie this. You can just have that conversation as long as you're sitting in front of Moxie and engaged in that one-on-one interaction. You won't need to say Moxie's name. Does anyone have anything to add there? Okay. Are there any common mistakes or mishaps that happen on the first day that being informed will help us avoid? I think this would be a great question for the panel here. I don't know if someone wants to jump in, but I'm sure there are stories.
I can jump in on the interaction side of things, and then maybe I'll toss it over to Lewis to see if there's any kind of common setup mistakes and mishaps. But when introducing Moxie to your child for the very first time, some of the things that we've seen in the past or heard from customers in the past is, it's especially on a holiday, there's a lot of people around, a lot of noise, a lot of activity. We really encourage users to use Moxie in a one-on-one quiet environment. This will ensure that Moxie is able to see and hear your child correctly and doesn't get too distracted by outside noise. So that's definitely number one. Also making sure, again, that Moxie is at eye level. One of the things that we've heard in the past is that sometimes people want to put Moxie maybe up on a dresser or a shelf in their child's room. We really encourage that to be a eye level interaction because it will impact the experience. So Moxie is really designed to recognize who its special mentor is. And so it needs to see and hear them clearly to be able to respond appropriately. So I think that's the biggest number one common mistake. The second thing is that really letting Moxie kind of set the pace for that initial interaction. So having Moxie really lead, let Moxie introduce itself. It'll start that conversation because I think a lot of times, of course, you get very excited and kids want to just ask Moxie a bunch of questions. I would suggest let Moxie kind of set that pace to start as they get to know each other a little bit. Anything else on your end, Lewis or Nikki?
So in terms of setup, usually, and this was a mistake I made, with setting up Moxie is, and I know Matt had mentioned this in the presentation, but it's just double checking the Wi-Fi network name as well as the password, and making sure that that gets manually inputted instead of having a phone kind of auto-populate. That can kind of throw some issues at you, and it seems that you might have issues with the Wi-Fi when it's just a case thing. So usually it's set up, that's kind of the most sticky point, and just make sure and triple check that while setting up.
I have one more thing I wanted to mention,
Sure.
a really helpful and useful tool. And thank you, Lewis. That's a great point because I have done that too. Another really useful tool for parents, especially on that first day. Sometimes you may want to jump in and help your child, or as your child is kind of learning how Moxie works, they want to ask you some questions. That Moxie earmuffs command that Matt went over is really, really, really useful. So what that does is essentially it stops Moxie from listening and responding to speech, kind of puts Moxie in a holding pattern. So that way you can actually talk to your child, have a side conversation, and Moxie won't be trying to respond to you. When you're ready to take Moxie out of that mode, you just say, Moxie, please listen to me. That Moxie, please listen to me command is also fantastic. If for any reason you feel Moxie's not responding to your child or is turning away, you can say, Moxie, please listen to me, and Moxie will go ahead and refocus on your child and respond to them. So 2 very useful commands.
Awesome. Thank you both. I see a cloud with a down arrow to a robot. Is this still a loading process? So one thing, I don't know if we can send the link, but there's a handful of face icons, and we do have on our site a guide to identifying what each of those mean. Moxie with a cloud and an arrow coming down, and there's the circling arrows, means it's pairing or restoring. So normally you pair the QR code to Moxie, and then that can come up and it shows that Moxie's in the process of pairing. And then you'll get a check mark success. Or if there's something wrong with the pairing, you might get an X, and then it'll go back to the QR screen. So what you want to do is if it's pairing, you want to just let it be, and then it will hopefully then go to success. I don't know if anyone has anything to add there.
Yes, I mean, so you kind of explained it to a T. That's just kind of one of the steps, and there's going to be multiple steps in that, especially for the first time setting up Moxie. It's basically just doing its checks, making sure everything's in the right place. Yep, that's normal. It's just one of the pairing steps that need to happen for Moxie to connect to the cloud and obviously pair with your phone. So it is normal.
Great, thanks. Is it easy to switch Wi-Fi for Moxie? Oh, great question. I want to pair with Moxie at work and connect to work Wi-Fi. How easy to switch? Great question. Yeah, I should have covered this earlier. So in the embodied Moxie parent app, there is, here, let me share. There is a Wi-Fi section. This is under the Moxie tab. So just the second to the right, I guess you would say. So this is under the Moxie tab. This is where you can edit Wi-Fi. Lewis, is it good to reboot Moxie once you've edited the Wi-Fi in the parent app? Or Rachel?
You do not have to reboot after you've,
Okay,
it'll take you through this. It'll basically take you through the steps. It almost looks like you're pairing. So you don't want to unpair. You just want to hit edit Wi-Fi, and it'll take you through the steps to connect and show the QR code.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for confirming. So yep, you just go into the app, you edit the Wi-Fi. Easy peasy. How does the membership work? Does Moxie automatically know you have a subscription and will load everything available in the subscription? Yeah, good question. So once you have Moxie, and yes, there's a monthly subscription that you agree to upon purchase. And that just includes regular updates. We don't have a specific cadence like every first of the month or every second week of the month. It's just as our developers continue to upgrade the software, and Moxie will automatically update, and you can get notifications saying through the parent app, you'll get notifications saying Moxie has a new software update. So yeah, there's nothing specifically you need to do there. Moxie's going to update the software and you'll be notified about that. How will Moxie know my kid's name? So as we showed in the beginning, you'll put your child's name in, and you'll even put what you want Moxie to call your child. So you'll put your child's actual name, and then it says, what do you want Moxie to call your child? You put that name in, and Moxie will recognize that name as your child and as its specific mentor that the experience is curated to. Does it need to be paired to 2.4 only, or does 5G work as well? 5G definitely works as well, unless anyone has any different information.
Nope, that is 5G definitely works. It was just there to be able to connect to different types of networks if people had different types.
Great. I already updated the firmware, so I would avoid waiting the 30 minutes on Christmas. Is there another update coming before Christmas, or am I good? That's a great question, because there could be another update. Yes. Rachel, do you have anything more on that other than that we know that there will be another update?
Yes, so there may be another update before the holidays. So what we recommend is, if you have Moxie out and not kind of under the tree already, just keep it turned on and in standby mode for as long as you can, because that way Moxie's software updates will come through automatically. You will get a notification in the parent app as long as Moxie is turned on and connected to Wi-Fi and either awake or in standby mode. The update will start downloading automatically. So you'll get a first notification on your phone that says that the update has started downloading. That takes, again, up to 30 minutes, after which you'll get a second notification that says the download is complete. To actually have this software update take effect, you'll need to actually reboot Moxie. So that means you can actually use the switch on Moxie's base to turn it off and back on again. There's also a little button in the app that it'll pop up when it's ready and say you can reboot it. If you don't do either of those things, Moxie will update itself automatically while sleeping in the middle of the night between 5 and 7 in the morning. So if you have Moxie turned off, so say you set Moxie up today, you turn it off, you wrap it up, put it under the tree, and then the software update comes through, we would recommend that once it's turned on, after it's unwrapped, you'll need to wait that 20-30 minutes for the software update to come through. But that is a perfect time for your child to go through the welcome packet, read through all of the fun comic books that come with Moxie. A lot of kids love to take that time to really learn all about the backstory of where Moxie comes from to get them ready for their Moxie journey.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Is there a website we go to reset it after we tried to prep it for the holiday? I think Rachel answered that question. Unless, Rachel, do you have something to answer on that?
Lewis actually looked like he was going to jump in. Go for it, Lewis.
Yeah, there is a page on our support center. If you just go there, it's you can find the link at the bottom of our website. And if you just search how do I reset, there should be instructions on how to reset it to day 1. And then we just there is a reminder in there, but there's 2 options when you get to the that process, and it's either unpair or restore factory settings. So we just make sure you press unpair so you don't have to go through the whole updating process again. But if you have anything more to add, Rachel, go ahead.
That was perfect. Thanks, Liz.
Awesome, thanks. If my child just wants to talk about a situation at school, do they have to command him to just listen? So yeah, so when Moxie comes out of the box, Moxie's going to have an experience, and like Rachel said, it's best to just let Moxie kind of lead that experience through the activities. That being said, you can say Moxie let's chat. That's not one of the lists. If you want to write that down, Moxie let's chat, and Moxie will go into a mode where it's specifically a conversation. That being said, if your child just waits for Moxie to initiate the activities and conversation, there will be that opportunity on day 1 for your child to talk about that situation at school. Anything to add? Great. How often do you need to charge Moxie? How do we know if the battery's low? Another great question. The battery level can be found in the app. Right now I have Moxie on a full charge, battery status 97%. Generally we say 3 to 4 hours of active use approximately on a full charge, and a full charge can take up to an hour. And I say active use, so if Moxie's in standby, it could be longer than that. Anyone have anything to add there? And like I said, once again, Moxie doesn't need to be plugged in. The plug is just for the charge. So 3 to 4 hours unplugged, and then about plugging it in for an hour should get it back to 100%, approximately.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add is that you can use Moxie still while charging.
Of course. Yep. Great point. All right, is her updating normal? Yep, Moxie's gonna have updates. It'll be automatic and you'll get notified in the app when it's started. So that's normal. Can Moxie hold a conversation, or does he talk about certain topics? Great question. Yeah, Moxie has a conversation. You can say, Moxie, let's chat. Write that down. It's not in the command list. You can say, Moxie, let's chat. And Moxie will go to a mode of conversation where your child can talk to Moxie. And then also Moxie's going to initiate conversation on its own if you just wait for Moxie to kind of lead the activities. As far as certain topics, yeah, Moxie will talk about what your child wants to talk about. Obviously, this is a product for children ages 5 to 10, so Moxie's not going to talk about mature topics, and we'll just encourage a child to talk to a trusted adult if a topic that's not appropriate comes up. But yeah, Moxie can hold a conversation and talk about what your child wants to talk about. Can you adjust the social emotional settings after you set them up from the initial process? Great question. I'm actually going to turn it to the panel because I'm not 100% sure.
Hi. So I'm guessing what you're mentioning is under mentor information when you're doing that initial setup. It says SEL skills development as one of those setup steps. And there you have some kind of sliders where we can get to know your child a little bit more in the areas you want Moxie to focus on. If you've gone through the setup process and you want to go ahead and edit that information, you can go to the account tab of the parent app. And the account tab is going to have a little space where it says mentors information and a little button that says edit. There you can actually change your all the information about your child. So you can change the accessibility features. You can change even what Moxie calls them. Say they wanted to be called by a different nickname this week, you can actually edit that information there. If you go down and hit next, then you're going to be able to edit the interests, and then you'll also be able to edit the skills development section. Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. How do I identify my ID in the app keeps saying unsuccessful? I'm assuming you mean the Privo identity verification is saying unsuccessful. Lewis, do you have any troubleshooting tips on that?
Yeah, I can. Yep. So the first thing I would try would be to try other methods. There's various methods you can use while going through that private identification. I would definitely try the other ones. If that still doesn't work, very similarly to the Wi-Fi issue, we ask if you can just make sure you're manually inputting the information. I know if you copy paste some stuff, that can have an issue as well. And then lastly, when you're entering the info, is make sure there's no spaces at the end. Sometimes it can or give you an unsuccessful error if there are. And then if you're still running into issues, you can always reach out to us. Our email support@embody.com, and then we can help you out. So
Awesome. Thanks, Lewis. Updates are between 5 to 7 a.m. in which time zone? Good question, Rachel. Is that local
Yeah, it's actually going to be the user's time zone, but I did want to clarify that updates will come through at any time of the day. Whenever they're released, they can start coming through. It's just that very last step. Once it's finished downloading, Moxie needs a reboot. You can actually just manually do that on your own whenever you get that notification. But sometimes people, maybe they're away and they don't have Moxie in front of them. So if you don't do that manual reboot, that's when it'll automatically do that kind of reboot for you very quietly while Moxie's asleep in the middle of the night, 5 to 7 a.m. your time zone.
Awesome. Where's the user manual located? All online? Yeah, so if you go to support.embodied.com, you can find all this information, including the link to the user guide. But the user guide does also come in the box. So if you have Moxie already, you should have received a user guide in the box that will go over this. Rachel, you have something to add? Oh, okay. I just saw your camera go on. Will this be recorded to revisit later? Yes, this is being recorded, and we will most likely be posting this. And if you need it sooner or whatever, just let us know. But we will be posting this. Also, some of these videos are also online. So if you go to like our Embodied Inc. YouTube channel, you can see how to set up Moxie. We'll also be emailing some of this stuff out as well, but there's a video that goes through setting up Moxie through the app. So you can go on our YouTube channel as well to find that. But yes, we will be recording this and putting it up shortly, so you can revisit it later. Where can I find the prompts you shared on the screen? Oh yeah, so the commands to say to Moxie. So in the user guide, there is a list. So that came in the box. In the welcome package that also comes in the box, the green book, it's the mission book. That mission book for kids, that on one of the front pages has this list of commands as well. And then we should also have it on the support channel. As well as in the parents app, you can actually go to, you go to which tab? You go to the assistant tab, which is the very first tab in blue, right there, assistant. Oh no, the other one, assistant. And you can go to global commands in the center there. And that will also go through the commands.
One thing to add there is that as part of your child's journey with Moxie, Moxie will actually teach the child these commands in a playful and fun way, so they get a chance to practice them. So they can always access them in their mission book, like Matt said. They're actually on the inside back cover of the mission book, or you can get them as a parent in the app or in the user guide. But again, Moxie will teach your child a new trick every day.
Awesome. Can you move Moxie room to room? Yep. As long as the Wi-Fi is still covered room to room, Moxie can be picked up. And it's nice to even kind of pick it up like a baby, almost to rest in the arms. And yeah, you can move it around room to room, no problem. Even when Moxie's awake and you move it up and you pick it up, Moxie will even acknowledge that and say, "Oops, I'm up. Set me down." And Moxie will express appreciation when set back on a flat surface. Can the app be on both parents' phones? This is a good question. I'm going to pass this to Lewis.
Yeah. So it definitely can be. The one thing you do need is that recovery code that Matt had showed you at the beginning of the presentation. So all you need is that recovery code, and what you would do is after you're done setting up Moxie on the first phone, you can then move on to the second phone. You would sign on using the same credentials, so the same account you had created. And then when you get through there, it will ask you, just because it's a different device, it will ask you to verify, and it'll send like a 6-digit code to your email. And then once you're verified and in, you would just enter that same recovery code, and then that's it. You'd be paired, you'd be on the account. and it would be paired with your Moxie and be able to track the progress, and do all the same things you would do on the other phone. So
Perfect. Thanks, Lewis. And then last comment here I see is thank you guys. Very helpful. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too. Anyone else have any other questions? If something comes up later, just reach out to support@embodied.com. We would love to answer any questions that you have. But beyond that, let's see. Oh, we got one. Good. When Moxie first starts, does it tend to take a while? So we talked about the up to 30-minute upload, but I think if you're saying if Moxie starts, Moxie's awake and starting to do the activities. Moxie's intro, I mean, you could last up to, we recommend an interaction of 20 minutes, but it could last up to even 90 minutes. The intro of Moxie, where Moxie's kind of orienting in its space and talking to the kid in an introduction, is probably, I don't know, 5 minutes. But the interaction can be 20 minutes all the way to like 90 minutes. Rachel, do you have anything to add?
I was actually just going to add that some people have asked how long it takes for Moxie to boot up. So after that first initial software download is complete, subsequent wake ups, if Moxie is completely powered off and you power Moxie on, it can take a couple of minutes. So sometimes 3 to 5 minutes even for Moxie to fully boot up and be ready to be woken up. So what we always recommend is keeping Moxie in standby mode. And what that means is you heard Matt interact with Moxie and then say, Moxie, go to sleep. That puts Moxie in kind of an idle state. You'll see that its LED bar on its chest turns like a lavender color. And that means Moxie's kind of really ready to be woken up at any time. So once it's in that state, it's very, very quick. You can just say, hello, Moxie, which will bring it to dream bubbles. And then you can say, hello, Moxie again, or Moxie, please wake up, and it'll wake up right away. So that's the quickest way to get Moxie awake rather than powering it down in between each use.
Awesome. Thanks. Uh-oh. I think we told.
That was my fault.
Please go to sleep.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We know it's a super busy time of year. Thanks for bringing Moxie into your home. Oh, we got one more. Good. I put her to sleep and say the phrase, and she doesn't. Wait. So so the question was, I put her to sleep and I said the phrase and she doesn't wake up. So when Moxie is put to sleep, first you say, hello, Moxie. And then once you say hello, Moxie, and okay, and the dream bubbles, Moxie earmuffs. And then the dream bubbles come up. Then you say, Moxie, please wake up. And then Moxie will wake up. So it's hello, Moxie, then Moxie, please wake up. Gosh dang. Does that answer your question? Okay, it works. Great. Awesome. Yep. So yeah, I know it's a little confusing. All right, we got another question. Good. After initial setup, we just put Moxie in standby mode until introducing to my child. Yep. That's all you need to do. You can just keep Moxie in standby mode and plugged in. And you should be good to go. Yeah, no problem. All righty. Any other questions? You guys have been great. Oh, you have been great. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you spending time with us. Do we have live chat? Lewis, you wanna tell everyone how
sure.
we can get a hold of support team?
Yep. So we do have live chat within our phone hours. So it's from 7 a.m. So this is all in Pacific Standard Time. So it's all from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have live chat during those hours as well. So you can either call in, our numbers on our website, or you can always live chat as well.
Perfect. All right. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Great. Well, if you think of a question later, oh, thank you. You've been great help. Awesome. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you for spending time with us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for welcoming Moxie into your home. We hope you love Moxie as much as we do. If you have a question that comes up later, just reach out to the support team, just as Lewis said, and they'd love to help you. But with that, thanks. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.